Hello once again, people. If you don't know me, my name is Cliff. You're watching Focal Point Gaming, and I recently had a thought about how we could possibly redefine the horror genre. And not redefine as in redefine like all new games, but to kind of toss something different out there, or at least different from what I know it currently exists. I can't even remember what brought this topic to my mind per se, but you have the Silent Hills, Resident Evils, all the typical type horror games out, even though it would be very arguable if Resident Evil is even a horror game anymore. Most people would consider it an action adventure type game that wants to be horror but doesn't quite excel in that field, at least currently. We'll see if that changes in the future. And some people could even debate Silent Hill has lost some of its fervor over the years. Some people don't agree with that, some people do, so whatever. I would still, give Silent Hill a shot myself. But I was recently thinking about this, and what if, now this might, like I said, this might already exist, but what if we had something along the lines of maybe not Storm Chasers the game, but some kind of game that made you come face to face or head to head or whatever with a tornado, photorealistic practically tornado or hurricane. Tornado would be a better example, I guess. I went online looking for games involving tornadoes because I wanted to find out if something like this was already out there, and the most realistic one I came across was something out of Gary's Mod, which is, I think, a spin-off of Half-Life 2 or something from the Half-Life 2 engine. I don't know much about Half-Life. I've never really played that much of it, so if I sound very ignorant, then forgive me, but it was from that regardless. And it was this guy driving down the highway. Well, the first video I saw was the guy driving down the highway, and there's like this big, it's probably like an F3 or F4, it looked like that big anyway, I don't really know. He got out of his vehicle, he went and like stood in a ditch, and part of me was just kind of like, oh boy, that's just kind of, part of me was kind of tense, because I was like, I didn't feel like I was really there, but I felt like I was there enough. And the tornado basically goes over his head and never sucks him up or whatever for some reason, I don't know why. And I was kind of like, oh, well, that's one weak-ass tornado. And then there's another video that I saw where this guy was standing in his shed, and there's this tornado coming by the shed. The shed started bending and stretching, and chunks of wood in the roof started flying off. And I kept waiting for the character itself to get sucked in, but it never did for some reason. I'm not sure if the tornado in that game can actually suck you in and spin you around or whatever, but apparently I guess it can't. I don't know. But like I said, I haven't gone through all the videos on YouTube and watched all the videos on YouTube of it, but it got me thinking, what if that was like photorealistic, and what if you like were right there at it? And I mean, imagine viewing this like incredibly realistic setting on like a big screen TV, or even more scary, I know some of you are not into VR, but imagine viewing this on the Oculus Rift. That's what got me thinking about this, and I was like, okay, to me, personally, that would redefine horror to me, because you could have monsters and zombies and stuff like that, and yeah, that would be kind of creepy on good virtual reality on the Oculus Rift or whatever else comes out. I've always been kind of petrified of tornadoes. Well, not always. I used to be fascinated with them when I was younger. I used to have Storm Chasers on VHS and all that kind of stuff like that. But I mean, just the thought of that, being confronted with something like that with surround sound headphones on, with an Oculus Rift on, it might look incredibly goofy to somebody on the outside, but if I was immersed to that point and I saw like a humongous tornado from me, I mean, I think I would be scared shitless. I really do. I think that would be terrifying to me. I have not done research on this in years, but I was told a long time ago that when they go investigate hurricanes, they have people that fly down into the eye of the hurricane with a camera and all that. I have no idea if that's true or not, or that's just something I was told as a child. But just imagine in a game setting being able to like skydive into the eye of a hurricane in like an incredibly realistic setting. Or I'm trying to think of other natural disasters. Oh yeah, imagine being like standing in the middle of a road, or standing somewhere where you can see water even in the distance, and just seeing like the sun being blotted out because there's this giant, I guess I should get in frame, because there's this giant tsunami coming after you, and like you can see this wave towering over you, and you know that there's no way that you can get out of it in time, get away from it in time, because it's coming at you too fast, and you're just expecting your impending death. I can understand how some people would say, well, that's not really horror, but to me that would induce fear and terror into people, which is the very definition of survival horror to me. And you would have to survive some of these situations, so it would literally be surviving a tornado, and you would be horrified during the whole experience. So that's not the same thing as the creepy and spooky atmosphere and stuff like that, but it's a different kind of survival horror, which is why I say redefining survival horror. Let me know what you think about that. I'm sure some people will probably disagree with me on that, but it's just a concept that I hadn't really thought of deeply, but it's something that got my brain going, and I figured I would share with other people and see what they thought about it. So leave me your feedback, let me know what you think, and see you next time.